I got on here and we had one of those horrible spas that were like above ground spa for like 28 years that we just needed to get rid of finally. So that was happening like at 3 o'clock when I was getting ready to get onto this. So I was just like dealing with that, doing all this stuff. So then I come and I sit down in the office and I get on screen and my hair was literally like, I look like the scarecrow. I mean, I don't even know what was happening.
I'm gonna go back and watch.
Oh, it's bad. And
We
Julie
were
was
both,
having a wave go. It was just
I had like a weird like flip happening. So
yeah,
we were giving the audience
hair
hair
advice. So yeah. So
hair
today
issues.
is much better. Well,
Yeah.
I had to do my hair a little bit better today because we did the Gabe, you'll like to know this. We did the CBS book date with 8 with Eric Blem this morning. So we recorded that this morning. So that was fun. Lots of good stuff out this week. It's another good reading week. I'm reading one. It's not yours, Tom, but it's because you're not Dial Press. That's Wade, right?
No, right.
Okay. There's a book that Ruth said, oh my God, it's so good. Like Mother, Like Mother.
I've been hearing about that. Yes.
It's really good. I mean, it is just like I blew through like 170 pages yesterday without even like,
Ooh.
I mean, it was just going. So can't wait to finish that. So all right. So it's gonna go Julia, Tom, Gabe. I have a couple little things I'll talk about at the end. Amanda, I might be inviting you back on to talk about one of them. I think you know which one it might be. But anyways, screen share, Amanda, you might want to set that because I forgot to do that before we got on. So Julia, take it away.
Okay. All right. Well, as many of you may or may not know, the Pulitzer Prize awards were given out earlier today. So
Yeah.
I had to change up my presentation a bit because my first one here won the Pulitzer Prize.
Congratulations. That's a big deal.
Thank you for history. Best history. So this is called No Right to an Honest Living, the Struggles of Boston's Black Workers in the Civil War Era. And Jacqueline Jones, what's amazing about her and how she writes this kind of history, and, you know, on the West Coast, I think for us, it's like, you know, maybe there's like, okay, what do we have to learn from sort of Boston in the Civil War era? We were not a part of the nation in that era, nor were we in Boston, nor are we anywhere near Boston. But what's really interesting is sort of looking at, if you look at it, you know, this is a sort of lens on the city in the Northeast where theoretically race shouldn't have been as big of a deal. Like theoretically, you know, Boston was saying that Black people are free when they're in this part of the country, and what she does is really dig into how not true that is, and actually how that untruth of you know, saying that sort of the North was a place of freedom for Black folks in the country, that this is like a fundamental lie that we're all still sort of dealing with today. And so I think even if you don't really care about what's happening in Boston, and like I said, you know, California, you know, is barely part of the Union when the Civil War breaks out, and is, you know, basically still Mexico. I mean, one might argue it still is, but and I mean that in the best way. But I feel like this is a really like it's a beautifully written book. It's a book that really like invites you in to sort of think about these things and to think about the basis of our country and sort of some of the lies and some of the you know, not so pretty things that our country is based on. And I think as an American, no matter what part of the country you're in, that's important. So
great book. Congratulations, Pulitzer Prize. That's probably the toughest prize to win.
It's a big deal. Yeah.
And I love that it gives a book that it looks like that book came out almost a year ago, or maybe more than a year ago, and now giving it new life again because of its importance.
I know I had a panic. I know the other reps might have this moment where you're like, oh my God, did I miss this book entirely in my catalog? Like, why don't I know this that well? And then I I familiarized myself with it earlier.
But I think the Pulitzer is one of those that's later than all the others. You know what I mean?
It
Doesn't seem to fall in that same year of publication, because the one that won for fiction, Night Watchman or Night, the Jane Ann
Phillips, right?
Jane Ann Phillips. That's a real good book, but it's been like at least a year since that's been out.
Calendar year 2023 or something.
Yeah, it's got to be something like that. So, Tom, we haven't seen you.
I know, I've been missing you all, but I've just been so busy, Julie, and I'm just a busy person. But I made time today for tea time. So
well, thank you. Don't tell us that. Did you see Bruce again?
No, but that's coming up.
Okay.
There's always some Bruce tourism involved.
All right. Although, okay, I'm going to totally just divert for a second. So I watched the Bon Jovi documentary. Thank you. Good night. Yeah. Bruce was really instrumental with them at the very beginning of their career.
I haven't seen it, but I'm not surprised. The New Jersey connection, right?
Right. And so it was really fun to see his, like, because he spends it, especially the first episode, he's on it quite a bit.
And Bruce is pretty generous in that way. He participates in these documentaries about other people, and it was really good. So just a little Bruce sideline there for a minute. So he's the greatest.
Just wanted to make you feel good too.
Thank you. To save space, I'll be back, Julie. Okay. Keep this up.
All right. Okay, what do you got?
My first book is Carly Fortune's This Summer Will Be Different, on sale tomorrow in trade paperback original. So Carly Fortune is this great story. It's a little bit like Emily Henry, who I talked about last. Just took off from the very first book, but in a very interesting way. She did not it wasn't like it hit the first book was Every Summer After. It wasn't like that book hit the list the first week, the bestseller list. But it just kept selling and growing, and word of mouth kept spreading. It took about 6 or 8 weeks to hit the New York Times list, and then from then on, it just rose. And now she's an instant New York Times bestseller, and her readers can't wait for the next book. So she's Canadian, and the new book really leans into that. So the main character is Lucy, who's a tourist vacationing on Prince Edward Island. So Prince Edward Island is the setting for this book. And then she meets this local, Felix, who shows her a very good time. They have instant chemistry. The only problem is that she doesn't know that Felix is her best friend's younger brother. So over the course of 5 years, they're trying to not let happen what seems like must happen. But what readers have, the reviews and the early reads have responded to the love story, of course, and the will they, won't they, but then also to the portrait of friendship between the two women. It's a very strong part of the book, and also the setting, Prince Edward Island. So perfect summer reading. This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune.
Okay, so, and we have Carly Fortune, so it's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're hosting her like the end of June.
Oh, that's great.
In person.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so we've got an in-person event coming up with her. So if you're in San Diego or LA or somewhere close and you're a Carly Fortune fan, come on down.
Oh,
and Hannah, I think Hannah Brown's doing the In Conversation with her.
Oh, terrific.
So it's going to be a really good conversation. So and somebody's saying something about this here. Hold on. Somebody's in the comments with Dee read the Emily Henry. So good. Humor, romance, and a librarian. So it's kind of,
how can you go wrong?
How can you go wrong? Humor, romance, and a librarian. I love it.
Yeah, and that book was huge that first week. It's still huge. It's going to be our biggest book of the year.
I think so too. All right, Gabe, unmute yourself. Are you rearranging your desk?
I got a bunch of like junk around me that
having to clean up.
I mean, I just got like stuff. So yeah, I just had to get some little working room here, little elbow room. So welcome to my show.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you for joining, Gabe.
Always good to see you guys. Help me out with this stuff. So I'm all over the map today. I am doing my first book called Magical Girl Retires by Park Seo-leon. This is a book from Korea, and I'm gonna do another quick share. So that's the jacket. So the lowdown here, the lowdown. We have a young woman, 29 years old, in Korea, depressed, drowning in credit card debt, just lost her job. The pandemic's kicked in, and it's too much. She's going to end it all, and she's going to jump off the Mapo Bridge in Seoul. But the suicide attempt is interrupted by this all-in-white girl that pops up all of a sudden, who turns out to be her not fairy godmother, but actually her guardian angel. And she is recruiting guardian angels. And could our young protagonist be the next magical girl, is what they're called. So clairvoyant, magical, they step in. So her life gets turned around, very excited, starts getting into it as she's being pulled into this world, and then reality hits. It's like, oh man, it's like a job. I gotta like go to trade shows, I gotta visit people. It's like my job. It's like, oh, it's all cool. It's like it's two jobs in one. Wait, you not only get to have a 40-hour work week office job, you get to go out and do trade shows on weekends and visit accounts when you have a minute and do all that kind of stuff. So she's very disenchanted. It opens up a world of possibilities. It's a story that's got a lot of magic in it. Our author here, she's reimagining a lot of classic fantasy tropes, is what she's really doing here. Some are deeply personal, as you'll see as you're reading it, but it's overall a good look at the universals, ultimately, the universals of life. It's translated by Anton Her, and Anton Her is actually very caliente right now. We just published his new book, or just about to publish his new book, which is a novel that he wrote himself. He's a world-renowned and award-winning translator from Korea to English and vice versa. And like I said, he's just got his new book coming, and he's got a book that he's translated. He's got a couple of books that he's translated that are out there now, getting great reviews. And then he translates this. So our translator is very hot. I think we got a really cool package. And if you will allow me another half a second to share, I want to just give you a look at the insides of this. It's a really cool package. So that's I showed you the jacket and then the interior.
You gotta unshare. You gotta do a different screen.
Oh, do I have? It doesn't do it that way. All right.
So go back because are you showing us Edelweiss now?
How about yeah?
Okay, go back. Yeah, now we can see your Edelweiss.
Okay, so yeah, so that's what the interiors are like.
Oh,
illustrated, really cool illustrations throughout. So it's a special little book all the way around. Give it a shot. Got really good reviews. I think it was an Indie Next Pick. It was an Indie Next Pick, which means independent booksellers around the country picked it as a fave.
Yeah.
So we're excited, and it's fun, and take you to a new world, different kind of a book, kind of fun.
Is it a Harper Via?
It is a Harper Via.
Harper Via, yeah, which I
don't
love.
have to tell you anymore. Look at you.
Hey, look at me, just knowing my stuff.
I don't have to tell you anything. Nothing I can teach you. Nothing left to teach you.
Yeah. Okay. Can I leave the temple? Is it time for me to leave?
Vaya con Dios.
Yeah. What's oh, never mind. I can't think of it.
I touch you everything I know, and I touch you everything I know, and you still don't know anything.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. So we're getting requests. So I'm going to throw this all out to you, and we'll do this maybe after the lightning round, because Dee's asking for or Dee, okay, I lost it now. Somebody's looking for a book for Mother's Day. Can you suggest a good motherhood book? And I guess it's for not just for a newborn, but maybe a mom with a newborn, for an adult for Mother's Day. So put your little thinking caps on that. So there we go. Okay, Kim, welcome.
Hey, yeah, thanks for finding me. Okay, I have 3 books that are all fantastic, and they're all kind of summer reads, fun. And I'm gonna do the first one I'm doing is already out, and the other 2 I don't think are out yet. And okay, Tom, here we go. Funny Story by Emily Henry. You know, I'm a big fan, and I think she knocks it out of the park with this one. I just loved it. It has a more serious side to it than her other books, which I actually really liked. And it involves Daphne, a 30-year-old children's librarian who had moved to Michigan with her fiance, a wealthy banker. And she kind of took up his life, you know, his friends, his lifestyle. She's living in his house. And a couple weeks before their wedding, he dumps her. We meet her at this point. He had just dumped her because he decided he was in love with his childhood friend, Petra. And poor Daphne, you know, she doesn't really have any of her own friends. She's a child librarian. She's not making very much money, and she has to vacate his house. So she's kind of desperate, and she ends up rooming with Petra. Petra's ex-fiance. Peter and Petra are now engaged and getting married, and Daphne ends up being Miles's roommate, also the jilted fiance. And they're opposites, and they ignore each other for a while, but then you know, things happen, and they get to know each other, and it's just a really sweet book.
Yeah, I think that there's lots of people on the Facebook that have read it too. It sounds like it's one of those like fast ones.
It's super fast. I read it. I was sick a couple weeks ago, and I was feeling totally miserable, and I had been saving it. And I pulled it off the shelf, and I like read it in a day. I was so happy. You know, I was feeling so bad, and then I was so happy. So I highly recommend.
So Arlene's on here saying it's Emily's best book yet. Absolutely.
I agree. I totally agree with you.
I've been hearing that from other booksellers. I'm always asking, so what did you think? And then without fail, it's like, this is my favorite.
This is totally my favorite. Yeah, hands down. And I love her. So, and the banter as usual is just, she's just there. I wish we had more Emily Henrys.
There you go. All righty. Okay, Julia.
Okay. Well, my next book is Skin and Bones by Renee Watson. Renee Watson is a much beloved YA author who, with this book, is making her first foray into adult fiction. This is, it reminded me a little bit of Jacqueline Woodson's Brown Girl Dreaming. Some of the ways it's written is like a little bit in verse in some ways. It's kind of a very like, it's got, I don't know if experimental is the right word, but it's just not always prose narrative throughout the book. But this is such a wonderful book. It's so lovely. It's about a woman who is literally just trying to like raise her kid and have a life and sort of like, you know, make it in this world a little bit. It's a Black woman living in Portland. And so one of the things it brings into it is some of the sort of like racial tensions that are still present in Portland to this day. And if you know anything about Portland, that's actually a huge part of its history. Portland, Oregon. The author does live there and is a Black woman, so she speaks from experience. But this is also just like the main character, Lena, is just this lovely, warm person. She's trying so hard to just like get through day to day, to raise her daughter to be a good person. It's gorgeous. It made me cry at least once. And I just can't recommend it enough. It's called Skin and Bones. And I will say that Renee Watson, we brought her to Winter Institute, and there was like a line, the longest line ever, to just hug her. Booksellers absolutely love her just as a person. So she is, you know, in supporting this author, you're supporting someone who is a beloved figure in our community. So
Can't ever have enough of these kind of books.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just...
It's one of those ones where you're rooting for her. I'm a fan of books sometimes where I'm not rooting for the main character, but it does feel good to like just have someone that you like want to succeed.
Right. I love that. All right, Tom, what do you got next?
All right, my next book, also on sale tomorrow, is Daughters of Shandong by Chong. And this is from so Berkeley's the publisher of Emily Henry and Carly Fortune. So they do that kind of book really exceptionally well. But they also do historical fiction exceptionally well. They've got a really great eye. So this is a Good Morning America buzz pick. Already last week they announced that. And it's about a family of women. So it's a mother and her daughters in 1948 China. And as the 1948 Civil War is starting in China, more important for the lives of this family, the mother does not have a male heir, and so the mother is being punished for not having a son. It's being taken. The people around her in this rural village are taking it out on the mother and the children and the young girls. And so this family of women sets off to first they end up in Hong Kong. They go to Taiwan. They end up in Taiwan, but through Hong Kong and then Taiwan. But it's this incredible journey that they go on. And so you're learning a lot about Chinese history, the way women were treated in that time, how they shake free of the bonds of their gender to accomplish what they need to accomplish and find a new home, because the father and husband abandons them, and that sets them off on this journey. Now, the author is an international human rights lawyer, but more importantly, this is the story of her grandmother. So she didn't know, her grandmother did not talk about China growing up, but she learned that this is essentially, it's fiction, it's a novel, but she took that story, did all the research, and it's a propulsive, kind of extraordinary read. And then when you know that it's based on a real family, it's really incredible. So Daughters of Shandong on sale tomorrow with that also amazing cover.
Really good cover, but that's amazing. I mean, a lot of novels start from family stories, but that's amazing.
I know. She was close to her grandmother, but her grandmother never talked. Like, she could see the wounds from that time on her grandmother's body, but it was only after she died that she learned the truth.
Well, and that's the thing that, I mean, there's so many times when it's like, because like my grandma, it's like you want to go back and like, if I just had that to ask those questions, and get the answers. Oh, yeah. All right, Gabe.
I am going to share with you my next book.
Yay!
Something good.
No, we want something bad.
Can't do it, Jules. We don't have those kind of books.
Don't forget, you guys. Everybody needs to think of a book for a new mom.
What happened to my thing?
What happened?
Sorry, jumping up ahead.
There we are.
So bite. So this is the second book from Amy. You have the Andrea Tetric presented the first book, World of Wonders, a couple of weeks ago. It's out in paperback. It's a really lovely edition with French flaps. It's got a cutout, a step back jacket, very nicely embossed. It's a beautiful looking book. A book that got people by surprise. I was actually going around selling this book, and people were like, just like moving on. I'm like, how do you not recognize that last name? How do you not know what this is?
I know, World of What, exactly. It's like that. It's not like it's Smith.
It's not Smith or Jones. So it was really kind of I kept going, and I'm just like, and then I look and I'm like, man, you sold like 85 of these, just like 150 of these. You might want to check it out again.
You might want to check it out.
Yeah, might want to look. So this is the next book. The other one was very, I think, more plant and flowers, etc. This is food. And I can show you some illustrations down the road here, because it is just such a good I think if you remember her last book, it was really lovely, as I said. And so it's more, I'm going to show you the inside. So I'm going to get out of here, except it's all confusing because there's so many tabs open. I'm going to
You're
start.
just too busy. Too busy.
Too many tabs. I know too much, but I just want to give you an idea of the insides because it's really worth looking at. So this is about mint, figs, which are delicious in like a jam or any kind of baked thing. And the gyro, I thought it was a taco at first, but I read carefully, and risotto. Anyways, it's a lovely, this is what she does. Some really good essays. She's a really strong writer. So you're in it for the long haul. And that is A Bite by Bite.
Great illustrations too.
I mean, it's all about, yeah, I mean, the writing is really, I mean, it was one of those books I thought, oh, it's an illustrated book and that's why people are buying it. And it really,
right.
You know, apparently apparently it is the writing, and then the art is just an extra.
Yeah.
Or the art is, you're there for the art and then the writing's an extra added bonus. Either way.
It's a win. It's a win-win for Bite by Bite. All right, Kim, what you got?
Okay, my next book is The Wedding People. You see that? By Alison ESP Patch, who I hadn't read before, but she is the author of The Adults and Notes on Your Sudden Disappearance, both of which are acclaimed books. And she's a professor of creative writing at Providence College. And again, this book knocks it out of the park. It features Phoebe, maybe 35-ish-year-old woman who we meet at a luxury, as she's arriving to a luxury inn in Rhode Island. And we immediately find out that she is there to kill herself. And we find out why. She had been married a long time to, she's not a professor. She's a instructor at a college. Her husband is a professor, sorry. And he has published several books. He's made money off of them. So he's very successful. And she never did finish her dissertation or her book and all this. And anyway, they tried for a long time to have a child, didn't work, went through lots of IVF. And during the pandemic, we find out he left her for sort of a younger, hotter colleague where they work. And it's a year later, and that was during the pandemic. So it's a year later, and Phoebe's been alone, for a year, living the life we all lived. And she's decided, I've had enough. So she arrives at the inn. It was her fantasy vacation that she had planned to take with her husband, who's no longer her husband. They're divorced. And everybody thinks she's part of the wedding party because the entire inn is being used to host a giant, very, very, very expensive, extravagant wedding. And she's the only guest there who isn't part of the wedding party, and she's not even supposed to be there. And she meets the bride, and the bride finds out why she's there, and the bride tells her, "You cannot ruin my wedding by killing yourself."
Not about the fact that you're depressed or anything.
Right. No. The bride is hysterical. Phoebe is darling, and they develop this friendship, and it's just, it is so much fun. And
when does this come out?
It comes out in July. There's a whole bunch of characters. They're all fabulously developed. The plot is, it's got so much. I mean, it has a lot of serious themes, but a lot of humor. Okay. And highly, highly, highly recommend.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Put that on the pre-order list. So I love doing a pre-order because then it'll show up at your door and you won't even know that you ordered it. I love the pre-order. Perfect. Thanks, Kim. Okay, lightning round and then a bonus round for books from others. So Julia, what do you got for us for lightning round?
Okay. I should have done this one right before Tom. Last round. This is Their Divine Fires by Wendy Chen. and this comes out tomorrow.
Great cover.
Yeah, right. Isn't it amazing cover? So this book, a bit like Tom's actually, is based on Wendy Chen's family. This one starts during the 1919 Cultural Revolution in China and follows 5 generations of women in the family. And so sort of follows these women as things change in China, sometimes for the better for them, sometimes for the worse. It is a gorgeously written book about these 5 generations of women and sort of how it sort of looks at these big sort of political movements and how they are experienced in the personal. So throughout each generation, as this new generation of women comes up, it sort of explores how these political changes affect them and sort of in certain ways guide parts of their lives. It's a gorgeous book. It's not a super chunky book. It's not thin, but it's not chunky. It's a fast read. I sort of blitzed through it. It was so beautifully done. And again, we took this author to Winter Institute and she was a big hit. I had a couple of accounts actually email me afterwards and tell me how much they loved this book when they finished reading it. So it's another one, Wendy Chen, There to Find Fires, out tomorrow. So
yeah, and booksellers are a tough crowd.
It's hard to buy mine and Tom's book together.
Yeah, exactly. And it
track.
sounds like and this might be overgeneralizing, but it sounds like if you're a Lisa C fan, these 2 books would probably fit right up. Both Tom and your book would fit right up your alley with that. And so, because there's lots of people out there who love Lisa C and can't wait for her to write the next one. So try some new authors and some new things.
Definitely.
Okay, Tom.
All right, Julie, it's time. Miranda Jly. The new Miranda Jly. I've been waiting.
Is that
to talk
tomorrow?
about this book. No, it's out in a week, but I have but I might not be here next week, so I don't want to take the risk. So pre-order it today if you dare after I tell you about it.
It sounds so weird.
So the book, well, first of all, let's talk about who Miranda Jly is. She is a filmmaker, artist. I guess artist is the easiest way. She has an art exhibit in Milan right now, but she's also won prizes at the Cannes Film Festival. Her films have been nominated for Oscars, but they are not films for everyone. And I would say that All Fours, her second novel, but her first with us, is not for everyone. But if after I tell you about the book, you think I'm intrigued, I want to go there, then it's for you. So it is about a woman very much like seems a lot like Miranda Jly. She's an artist at midlife who has a husband, who has a child, but she's not fulfilled in her life by any means. So the first section of the book, she lives in Los Angeles, and she tells her husband she needs to get to New York, and rather than fly there, she's going to drive. She's going to go on a road trip. Well, she gets about 30 miles from outside, or 30 minutes, not even 30 miles, 30 minutes outside of Silver Lake in Los Angeles, in Monrovia, Sierra Madre, which is not very far.
I was going to say downtown.
Pretty much, it's like Sierra Monrovia.
I know. So she falls in love with a young man that she sees, and she sets up in a motel, shall I say, a kind of a classic California motel.
Drive-up motel.
And she remakes the motel room to her artistic vision while wooing this young man. Wooing is not really what she's doing, but meanwhile, she's calling her husband and saying, just got to Indianapolis. Soon I'll be in Pittsburgh. So she's buying time while she is trying to figure things out. Well, so anyway, that's just the beginning. But that hotel room kind of holds like a major hold on her and a major place in the novel. She does get back home, but once she's back home, nothing is the same. So it's a novel of transformation, transcendence, but I haven't gotten to, but there are parts of it where I was like, can a writer write these sex scenes? Can I read them? So they're not for everyone. I just want to be very clear.
Very
So
clear.
when I went to, as I was reading, I would be emailing with the publicist at Riverhead, and I'd say like, this just happened. Is that okay? And she's like, it's just like any other Sunday night on HBO. So think of it that way. So the book is going to be a major talking point. Like the world is going to be talking in a week. They're already started all over social media. All the reviewers are going to be weighing in on All Fours because she's an important artist. She's never. This is her second novel, but it's been 10 years since her last novel. In that time, her life is completely changed. So like, expect lots of stuff. This was in yesterday's New York Times style section. The headline, ready to get maximum weird. Yeah, that's good. I was ready to get maximum weird. There's the New York Times. So that's the New York Times. The New York Magazine published its review, I think, today. And it's a fascinating review. But this also gives you an idea. Jly's novel is hot and weird and captivating and one of the most entertaining, deranged, and moving depictions of lust and romantic mania I've ever read. Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, that's probably the best description that I've heard.
I know. That review had I could have picked out a million sentences like that. I mean, and that's to what you like about the book, if you like the book, if you go with her on this journey.
I'm totally in. This sounds amazing.
It is. I mean, it is. I mean, I look for things that shake me up that aren't the same as last week's book or next week's book. Well, there's not going to be another book this year like this. George Saunders calls it a giddy, bold, mind-blowing tour de force. Emma Cline, author of The Guest, says it's a profound in body and deeply human, a brilliant work of art from a completely blown open and fearless mind. Michael Cunningham calls her a national treasure. So if you haven't heard of Miranda Jly, now you've heard of her. You may want to experience All Fours, but I understand it's not for everybody. You may not, but you're going to be talking. People are going to be talking about this all summer long. So yeah. Miranda Jly's All Fours. I love, and this cover shows. Well, I think it's open to interpretation, but that there's probably a woman on the precipice there, but we just can't see.
You just can't see her. But I'm going to say, Tom, it is definitely one of those books because I read it. If you go into it with, this is going to be the weirdest thing that I'm going to read, maybe for my life, maybe not, but yes. If you go into it with that just open your mind and go on the ride with her. Is how
and that's how I felt when I haven't seen all of her movies, but I did see her last movie called Kajillionaire, which was really weird.
Right.
It was Deborah Winger. I forget the rest of the cast, but it was a great cast in a really weird movie that once it was done, I was like, it was during the pandemic, and I was like, I think that's a masterpiece. Yeah. And then I watched it again. I was like, yes, it's a masterpiece, but not for everyone.
Right. So that's the whole thing. You just have to, don't go into this with anything like this is a normal anything.
Right.
And you will have the ride of your life because
that's exactly.
Because you just can't, it's just like, seriously, she got 30 minutes away and went into a motel and redid it for $20,000. It's just like, what the holy hell is happening here?
Right. And then we watch her sexuality evolve over the course of the book. Yep. And it's all about the body and she's probably, in many ways, she's trying to, a lot of it is about dance. She's really into dance. So
yeah. There's actually some very funny parts of that too. So it's a wild ride.
Because I didn't mention that the lust object in Sierra Madre he's a dancer. I can't remember what form of dance he is.
He's a white hip hopper.
That's it. Yeah.
That worked at a Hertz counter. Oh no, yeah. It is just, oh my God. So yeah,
we could go on with the details.
We could go on and on. I mean, because every time you think that it's just like, oh my God. So yeah.
So anyway. On sale May 14th.
There you go. Next week. Okay. Gabe, what you got?
Lightning through this bad boy. Book I've been wanting to talk about for a while as well, The Cursed Friend by Beatrice Salvoni. It is another Via book. And okay. In translation from the Italian, it's translated by Elena Palla. and it is set in 1930s Italy. I was going to say Germany, but Italy, much the same. Fascism coming in. It is it's looming its ugly head, and we have two young women, Francesca, who is the proper daughter of a very fairly affluent, conventional, well-mannered family. She looks not the life that she wants. She's a little restless, and she looks for a life beyond that conventional middle class. I've got it made kind of a life. And one day across the town square, she sees Maddalena, who is she is the town bad girl. So they're in their teens, they're adolescents at this point, but Maddalena has brought enough attention to herself to be considered they call her the cursed one. But Francesca sees a young girl with an indomitable spirit, and she's fascinated by a young woman her age who has this freedom of mind to speak out and want to be herself and be her authentic self. The book opens with they're burying a Nazi soldier in 1936. He is the he's actually the son of the main fascist of the town. And they're burying him. And then we go back in time to where they meet. And we look at two young women who are growing up in a really turbulent time, both trying to be true to themselves, both witnessing and experiencing horrific violences. So much so that Maddalena, who's a lot tougher, teaches Francesca about life and about the physicality of life and about the violence of life and about that blood must be spilled. It's not that big a deal. Interesting dichotomy of the two characters that are brought together. I think you will think Elena Ferrante because of the setting and time and place. It's Monza. It's not Naples. So it's a inland city where they have an F1 track, by the way. Not to go back to that.
Not to go. We're gonna go back to there.
To beleaguer that point.
Where Bruce performed at Monza last year at that track.
I would have been fun to see. Look at Monza's in the air. So, anyways, it's a book that is being published in like 22 languages, in 22 territories, like 15 different languages. It's being published in like 15 places at one time, and I'm sure the smaller translations will come down the road. But that's a big deal. 22 markets pick up on it. So something, I think, great book club book, a great book for anybody who wants to. I thought it was a terrific read. It's totally my kind of thing.
Good a great package. Great package.
Yeah, good literary fiction, and it sticks with you, and very well told, very well translated. So I'm excited to share that with y'all.
I love those. I love those smart. I mean, that just sounds like a really good one. Okay, Kim, what's your lightning round?
Okay, my last one is not out yet, and it comes out May 21st, I think. It's Kevin Kwan's latest, Lies and Weddings, and this is amazing. I started it today. I had to fly across the country, and I'm almost done. And I can't put it down. It's his best one yet, and the plot is super convoluted. I'm gonna just read the last paragraph of the Penguin Random House description. In a globe-trotting tale that takes us from the black sand beaches of Hawaii to the skies of Marrakech, from the glitzy bachelor pads of LA to the inner sanctums of England's oldest family estates, Kevin Kwan unfurls a juicy, hilarious, sophisticated, and thrillingly plotted story of love, money, murder, sex, and the lies we tell about them all. And it is just over the top. It's got a great plot. It's hilarious. It's just what you want from Kevin Kwan, except on steroids. It's his best one.
He's so smart. He's just so funny, and he's so smart. And we're hosting him. He will be here.
I'm so excited.
May 23rd. So if you are in San Diego, we have a pretty good lineup. We're getting some pretty good events, y'all. So okay, I'm going to talk about two things super quick before we go to the Mother's Day book. Rouge is now out in paperback tomorrow. Love this. Set in La Jolla. Love Mona Awad. She wrote Bunny. If you don't know, we've already talked about this, so I won't go into too much detail, but she will be here on, she'll be with us on May 16th, I think, 15th, 16th, something like that. Yeah, I think Bunny's option for something. This is, I mean, she's just absolutely amazing. Amanda, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but if you want to come on real quick and talk about this, here she comes. The Ministry of Time. I read it. Amanda read it. Amanda actually got quoted. Her quote went into the Indie Next, so this is an Indie Next pick. Do you want to tell them real quick what it's about?
Yeah, and it's not just an Indie Next pick, it's the #1 pick for the month. So
oh, we can barely hear you.
Oh, what?
We can barely hear you.
Uh-oh.
There you are. You're better now.
Okay. It's the #1.
What'd you say? It's the #1
Indie Next pick for the month. Yeah, I'm on the cover of
You're
the
on
Indie
the
Next
cover.
pamphlet.
There's not much that we get to brag about, but those are our bragging rights.
Yeah, and Julie should brag because she's the one who recommended the book to me in the first place. So this book is set in a near future London, and it takes all these different tropes from things I love, like all the cheesy time travel stuff that happens in Star Trek. It takes elements of a Victorian romance, and it's a workplace comedy of errors. It does all these different things in such a wonderful, entertaining, fast-paced way, but also discusses themes like colonialism and the pitfalls of sham diversity measures in this near future London. And the main character is a mixed race woman who is essentially like a spy kind of in this strange ministry. I think they're turning it into a TV show already.
Oh, that will be so good.
Yeah, it's so good. I think
it's
it'll
so
be
good. It's just it's fun, but it's got those, like you said, it's well written. It's got some themes that are smart.
Yeah, big summer book. You heard it here first.
Yep.
Ministry of Time by Callie Bradley.
Yep, love it. So anyway, so there's that. So I'll start off the Mom's Day thing. Sort of to your Miranda Jly, this may not be for everyone for a mom's book, but honest to God, and we've actually talked about it here. I think Steve Atinsky did talk about it on here. It's called Night Bitch. And it's where this mom, she's newly being a mom, and just how she kind of turns into this night bitch. It's just like with hormone, just like what you do to protect your kids. So it's really not a warm and cozy kind of a mother, but it's like it really hits to the core of like some of us just become raging as mothers. So, but in a really good, smart way. So why not be? It's not your warm and cozy.
It's kind of like Kafka-esque, Kafka for moms, for new moms.
Yeah, but
who have had it.
Yeah, it's really good. But see, y'all have to take from me, I go on the darker side of life. So it spoke to me, and I just thought it was great. So Julia, you got anything that you can think of?
I do. I actually have a horror novel along those lines coming in fall that I just started reading this weekend, and it's great.
Okay.
But I have this is a fun one for moms. This one is called There Are Moms Way Worse Than You. And so I think it's a great gift book for Mother's Day. And it goes through all these animals who
oh my God, I love this.
What they do to their kids. So, you're not these moms. I think it's really fun. If you're ahead of the game and looking for Father's Day, we have a Father's Day one as well called There Are Dads Way Worse Than You. But I think this one's really fun. This, of course, the cover hilarious with the giraffe kicking its
hilarious
child.
That's great.
But I thought that might be a fun gift book for people.
That's a super fun one. Oh, you're on mute, Tom.
So that is so perfect. It's as if the question was for that book.
Yeah.
I know. Exactly. Do you have one that you can think of, Tom?
Well, the books that I'm coming up with are maybe mother, they're haunted by mothers, but like Where'd You Go, Bernadette? And then which led me to Liz, what's her name? It's a recent book, Dog of the North, that we published. That was
Oh, right.
That
which
was so cute.
It's so good, and but
Yeah.
but mothers play a strong role in that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, not as warm
Yeah.
and cozy as Julia's, but
And not as probably deeply disturbing
not-
as Night Bitch. So
not as terrifying as yours.
it's Night Bitch. So okay. Gabe,
You
even
know,
has-
I'm racking my brains here, and I can't really think of anything either subversive. All I can come up with are like sweet and cozy.
I love Sweet and Cozy, though. We give everybody a chance. What do you got?
Mama books, but yeah, nothing on the cutting edge. I'm like, I gotta have like a Mean Mothers or something like that. But and I got this lovely Hold My Hand, which is,
Oh, that's
uh,
sweet.
and I like this. I'm like a sucker for. I mean, I don't know if it's having the kids or I had a little girl or just getting old. I've grown sentimental where I used to be kind of like a little more cynical
You're
about
not still
things.
dated like me.
No, I used to be like you.
There's hope for you, Julie.
So sometimes something hokey like this, it's just, it's quotes, it's, Oscar Wilde, it is Marlene Dietrich, it's Simone de Beauvoir, it's literary, mainly focused on the literary Jane Austen and people like that, with lovely illustrations about having your mom around. So that's one of my favorites. It's been around for a long time, this book. And
Very
then
cute.
Starter, things good mothers know. And the reason I like this book is because it is, you're a good mom. Don't sweat it too much.
Exactly. And even here's the thing too, and you could do everything right in your mind and think that you're like and your kids probably will still end up in therapy. So it's just like,
Look, one thing I learned about parenting is I've seen parents who have done nothing for their kids, like zero effort, like even to the point of like just zero effort. They don't cook for them, don't bake for them, no posters, no hoopla. And the kids are, they're told that they're loved, they're taken care of, and they love their parents. So
right.
I met a woman one time who was, her father her father allowed her mother's new husband to adopt them. And it was the 60s or 50s, probably. Not uncommon back then, but she was like traumatized. And then who was there at her birth father's deathbed, her holding his hand. So there's a big pull both ways, motherhood, but the mother bond, whether you're a son or a daughter, it's your mom.
Yeah, it's your mom.
It's your
Kim,
mom.
can you think of one? Can you think of a mother's? There you go. What is it? School for Good Mothers.
It's dystopian. Yeah, I don't know, but it's really, really, it's
like,
really good.
Kind of my Night Bitch. It's like you for a brand new mom.
Right. It's really good. But I mean, if you're ever, it talks a lot about the ridiculous standards that today's young mothers are held to. So if you're feeling stressed about that, read this and you'll
love
feel
it.
better.
Just have a smoke,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, I have to smoke.
The
Smoking a martini.
a martini.
Let's throw us back to the 50s.
And just how hard it is to be a new mother. I mean,
no matter when you're, no matter what.
It's so hard.
Because even like, I mean, Kim, to your point, the mothers now, but it's like when my kids were in the 90s, it's like we had them like on schedules. There was no downtime. It's like you're going from activity to activity. It's like I don't remember just like hanging out on the floor with. So every generation's got something.
Yeah. Whereas we were raised like wolves. I mean,
we were out. As soon as the street lights came on, you had to go home.
Those were the days to be a mom.
Yeah, you got hungry, you went home.
Speaking of
there was an ad.
I'm going to recommend something for Mother's Day, which is not even mine, but I think I love this. It's the new Ishiguro lyrics that he wrote for Stacey Kent. And it's just a beautiful book, but you throw a Stacey Kent CD in here and you got a lovely gift. Do people still give CDs? But have you seen this? It's a beautiful book.
No.
It's Knopf. It's not even mine. It's Knopf. but it's
Liz,
beautiful.
Thank you,
thanks
Gabe. PRH thanks you.
Liz, thank you. Amanda, do you have a Mother's Day book that you can think of?
I was thinking about that book that Laura, one of our booksellers, likes, Women Holding Things.
I was just thinking of that too, Amanda. That's so weird. I literally just thought of that as you, and I couldn't remember the name.
It's a beautiful book.
Yeah,
Cool,
we just
cool art.
Yeah,
Great
we just
gift.
got a bunch.
Yeah.
Sorry, Amanda. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, that was what came to mind immediately.
It's the artwork. Did we talk about that one on here? I think it sounds like we did. Gabe, was that yours?
Mine, yeah. I talked
Yeah,
about
we
it.
definitely talked about it. I talked about it too. That's
We
a
talked about it.
fabulous book. That would make it makes such a nice gift.
You know, she's written so much, she's done so many books, and that one really, really, really struck a chord. It's done so well, but it says so much.
It does. I've given that book to several people, and they all love it. It's just really special. That's like one of my favorite gift books ever.
I love those illustrations.
All righty. Okay. Well, good. Thank you. I think it was Dee who brought this up because it didn't even occur to me that Mother's Day is Sunday. So we'll see you after Mother's Day. So this was great. As you can see, we don't really do much producing around here.
Right. Themes don't really enter into it.
And we don't really do much like, okay, this is like, we're gonna, who's showing up today and what are we going to talk about? So that's what I love about it though. So all right, everybody, got some great events coming up. Check out our website. And I think last week, Amanda mentioned the email that goes out. So if you're not on our email list, go to our website, get on our email list, and you will get this list of books every Tuesday. We send this list out. So you can always look up on the website too. But everybody, thank you. We can't hear anything. We can't hear a thing. So it's all good. All right, everybody, happy reading. And to all your moms out there, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Day.
Happy Mother's Day.